Hey, and happy Monday. Last week was certainly very busy. I think that civil case going on upstairs with the stand your ground really had most everybody's attention. Of course, that's a civil stand your ground hearing. We were also doing a good bit in criminal court. One thing was the Ken Register hearing, and I really appreciate everybody. The family appreciates everybody that took time to sign the petition. Your work was successful. The people at the parole board did comment on, I think it was well over 5,000 signatures by the time that was over. So we really thank you for doing that. Parole was denied, and we will do it again in 2028. So in addition to civil and then PCR stuff and parole stuff, we were also in court in both Orion and Georgetown counties. And one of the cases that pled last week that we were had up as first was Bernard Eberhardt, 44, of Georgia. He and Kristen Lehman came to North Myrtle Beach to have a little short vacation. Somewhere during the course of that vacation, he killed Lehman and took her body back to Georgia, dumped it in the woods, and by the time the Georgia police were able to find the body, it was just bones. So there was very little to work with there as far as the cause and manner of death, but they were able to get her bones, and we had video footage of him loading her body up in the back of his car, and I've added that to this so that you could look at it and see a snippet of that. But just by that, we were able to get a conviction for murder, and it was 30 years. For Eberhardt's part, he did lead the police back to the body, and the family was able to have a burial for her. So he got 30 years on that. He's 44 years old, and in murder it's day for day. So he will be 74 when he gets out. In Georgetown, we tried a case against a Hemingway police officer. Her name is Cassandra Dollard. Dollard was a police officer in Hemingway. She saw the victim in this case speeding or some sort of a traffic infraction. His name was Robert Langley. She followed him in pursuit from Hemingway into the county of Williamsburg, out of Williamsburg into Georgetown, and Langley wrecked his vehicle in a high-speed chase. As he was getting out of the car, Cassandra Dollard slipped, fell, got back up, and shot Langley. That was all presented to a jury, and the jury found Cassandra Dollard not guilty. Again, as I said in that press release, these are difficult cases because none of us ever believed that Cassandra Dollard woke up that morning and decided that she was going to harm Robert Langley. So that trial was as a voluntary manslaughter as opposed to a murder trial. There was no malice aforethought. There was no thinking. I believe when she slipped and fell, she got startled. Regardless of what he was doing, he was still in the vehicle, so didn't really pose an immediate threat, but the jury found her not guilty, and that is the extent of that. She can't be tried again. I told you about Eberhardt. There was 2 drug cases that we were able to, that were on trial rosters but ended up pleading. One was Gerald McCrae. He was 40. He got 10 years on possession with intent to distribute crack cocaine charge. That was, of course, his second offense, which means that he had been busted for cocaine one time previously, and that those sentencing structures are much worse for second and third offense. So he got 10 years on that. That was Blaine Massey from the state. Blaine also had a case that was on the trial roster with Raquan Owens, 25, of Conway. And it was just his first offense, but it was trafficking as opposed to PWID, and it was 14 grams of fentanyl. So he faced between 10 and 15 years, and the judge gave him 12 years on trafficking in fentanyl. And finally, a case that you saw a press release for was for Jordan Lee Norton, 26, of Conway. This is another case that was up on the trial roster. Jordan broke into a lady's home at night, and while in there, it looks like an attempt to steal some stuff, but he ended up pleading guilty before he went to trial, and he received 15 years, which is a non-parolable offense. So he will serve at least 12 before he starts coming up for parole. But that's Jordan Lee Norton, 26, of Myrtle Beach, and he got 15 years on that. There was a lot of other charges that went on, but I know that y'all don't watch this if we go over 3 or 4 minutes, so I try to keep it as short as possible. But there's a lot of information to take in. We've covered several murders here, and drug cases, and all in between that we see on a day-to-day basis. We will be back with you again next Monday and update you on anything that went on this week.